Welcome and good evening to Adventures in DeFi Kingdoms. This is Raph streaming to you live, high above the keep in the
Over
hot
here,
air
stranger.
balloon. How are you tonight, Mr. Neindorf?
This is an exciting time here for us DFKers who've been in this game for, what, 3 years now after that last AMA, all the good news they had and like kind of the reminiscing they did. So I don't know, 3 years coming. I'm excited.
I'm excited too. Just this last week, and I posted an image in our chat. We literally had a hot air balloon fly over our house, and it was so close. I thought it was going to hit the trees. Like we were talking to the people that were in the basket, and that never more had I wanted to be in the hot air balloon. I was like, this is perfect. Like, so I'll post. I posted that picture in the ADFK guild chat, but I'll put that up on Twitter or something like that. A little worried the geolocators are going to find me, but that's neither here nor there. It's a hot air balloon, and I'm excited. Um, yeah, we're here. You're right. It's been 3 years, and PvP is out. It's out in kind of what I guess we'll call beta testing, and it's available to streamers. And first off, I want to say a big thank you to the DeFi Kingdoms development team. I mean, they stuck with it during the bear. They stuck it with it through all this time. They had the vision. They believed in this product, and I mean, it's delivered, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think so. I think that's exactly it. Like this is kind of you're seeing the all of their hard work and you know we're just hang with there, guys. Hang with there. We're building. The whole building and the bear thing, right? This is what they've been building, and I don't know. I've watched a few games, not as many as I'd like. A little busy this weekend, but it's fun. I mean, it's fun to play. It's actually pretty fun to watch. You see people clicking around. There's so much to think about at every turn.
Yeah, it is. And because at the same time they've released player versus player combat, which is like mind blowing in itself, and we've also had the release of abilities. And I'll just go first and say ability slap, and I'll give credit to Guy Kid on the Boxside podcast. I think he's been the one who has said this at least the loudest, which is that they slap in the way of every ability changes the game fundamentally, and I couldn't agree more that there are basic abilities like blinding winds that I mean that can make a big difference, or the change that they've just made to duelist where that now gives you block. Like if you have we were talking about this today, we were hanging out in the RL, and if you have two duelists with each with like 2.5% block, and you stack an Aegis on top of that, like that's pretty big. And you're a knight already, and you stack any kind of other armor that is adding block to your hero. I mean that's a pretty big deal, and a lot of these abilities are dramatically changing the flow of the game, and that's really exciting. I think it's achieving exactly what they wanted to, which is a complex, in-depth, and fun experience during player versus player combat.
Yeah, I think you're right in that with just the selected skills and your heroes and the subclass and class. I mean, we don't even have subclass yet, but
Right.
there wasn't a ton of combinations. But yeah, given the sheer volume of actives and passives, like it is actually, you're right. It is significantly more to think about than I thought it was. I mean, I knew this was a complicated game. It always has been. That's kind of why we feel like it is a good game that we were always interested in, is because of the complicating factors. But wow, I'm amazed at the amount of things that you have to think about. And it's kind of it's the chess level, right? Where you've got to be like, okay, I got to string these two together. I got to dodge his right hook, so to speak,
Yeah.
and all that to come together and not have a bad miss because say you're a little low on decks or something. It's just a lot.
I totally agree. So that takes us to kind of question of the day right now, and that's: are you ready for DFK's PvP-ness?
Yes. I can't believe the scope, the breadth, if you will. Maybe the girth is the better word I'm looking for.
That's the word we're probably all looking for right now. Um, yeah, I'll be honest. I was I wanted it, but I was not prepared for it.
Yep. Sometimes you just
um,
don't get to choose.
yeah. So I mean that quickly kind of segues us into
Over here,
my favorite
stranger.
clip, which is a Resident Evil clip. We get
Got something that might interest you.
the merchant, and it's what are you buying? What are you selling right now?
Well, I mean, I think I am I'm noticing a lot of buying and selling from other people in general, just you kind of spurred on by this event. And I think it goes to show you that there's actually a very limited amount of equipment in this game. And I mean, it seems like there's been, oh, people are like, hey, I got to drop, I got to drop, I got to drop, like all these gore blades and things. But in reality, relative to the number of heroes, even like decent level 15 plus heroes, there is not enough gear. So I think what are you buying and selling is gear. Question is if you're buying or selling depends on, do you have a good team or are you realizing it's going to be a while till you have a good team and you might capitalize on selling. So I think it's gear, but I just don't know what direction, if you know what I mean.
I totally agree, and you know, right now I came in for this. So we organized a tournament, and between the DFK creators, and it's been I've been very underprepared for it. In fact, I've been kind of like trying to get my heroes up to level, and so the criteria for the tournament is level 15 heroes plus or minus 3 levels, but you need to have a team average of level 15. I'm not at a team average of level 15 for my I would call fighter class heroes. Um, and so I've been stamp potting them madly. I've been buying some stamp pots, buying some moksha runes, and actually, I'm going to kind of go into here's some gameplay, looking at equipment that you saw too, and I see we have a very special guest that just slid in. So welcome, Mr. Bolon himself. How are you?
What's going on?
We're glad to have you, Bolon. This has been incredible. Thanks for joining, kind of last minute here. I've done a very poor job of one, both preparing for the creators tournament that we have, and then two, trying to set up all the organization around the stream.
Uh, Unorganized streams are the best streams.
It's we might be casting in a chaos fashion, if you'll say.
Exactly.
Off the cuff is sometimes the best. You get some of those like raw thoughts. Sometimes that's when your hidden gems come out.
Yeah, so I'm looking at buying yoked bucklers right now, and I'm actually gonna grab one before it slips away from me. I'm realizing that my heroes are very under equipped at the moment, and I'm about to face a very fierce opponent, a Mr. Sir Worm himself of Guild ADFK. Sir Worm also joining us, sneaking in here into the podcast. How you doing, Sir Worm? Sir Worm?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you. How you doing?
All right. I'm doing good now that I got my volume working. Yeah, it's crazy. It's just been a crazy day. But I've been good.
Yeah, you're in the semifinals, legitimately. I would say I'm rather illegitimately in the semifinals. I feel like I've kind of snuck in here. I was initially facing off against Skiller, and as I said in the quick stream that I launched a few hours ago for my second live match, or really first live match, Skiller graciously bowed out because I don't think he had heroes that weren't level 20. And so
Oh, geez.
so he's kind of like, not for me this time around. And so I had the opportunity to face off against DFK Tails, who, I mean, those heroes are stacked. And I feel like I kind of snuck a fast one in on game one. He got me on game two, and then on game three, let's just say, there was misses on both sides, but I definitely benefited from some misses, and so here I am in the semis, going against Mr. Sir Worm. So excited to be here, Sir Worm. You've more legitimately earned your path here to the semifinals. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I don't know if my path was legitimate, but was fortunate enough to win both matches. I don't think uh I played Huffenstein in the first round, so I don't think he knew all the rules prior to us, like maybe like an hour before doing our match and stuff. So he was, I know it was an average level of 15, and his was like an average level of 13 or 14. So
Oh, that's what I've been. I've been very underwhelming, in terms of my heroes, and I'm actually just like stacking equipment now. I'm like, okay, maybe I should equip these heroes now that I've kind of made it through. So I'm putting some equipment on them. In fact, I was
yeah,
even asking Neindorf embarrassingly. I'm like, "Hey, do you have any extra equipment?" He's like, I put it all on." So
Right.
yeah,
And I was noticing too while I was playing that the people that have the Vizzies, like that's tricky because I forget who and what they are and what they're wearing or having on. And so like I find myself I had to click back. Like it's a distraction, a good distraction. I mean, in terms of if you anybody can buy them and wear them. So it's like I was like, that's like a clever little gotcha that it forces you to double click a few more things and think about things. You can't just immediately see warrior. It's hard.
yeah,
It threw me for a loop. I was watching Just, and I think it was
he's got some
I
awesome
saw it
Vizzies.
was some sort of Vizzy with an axe, and all of a sudden it did a gladiator strike or rapid strike, and I was like, what in the world is happening? Like this isn't the right move with an axe.
Right.
And then I clicked on it. I was like, oh, it's not a berserker.
Yeah. So I
well,
switching subjects a little bit here. We're talking about how prepared are we for DeFi Kingdom's PvP-ness, Bolon. I don't know if you heard the question of the day, but you guys have been preparing to lay it down, so to speak, and so much effort has gone into this over the last 3 years, which you've just celebrated. Congratulations. Um, how excited are you guys to deliver? Like, I mean, this feels like a fully fleshed out, no pun intended, um, really heavy hitting game.
Yeah, I don't know that I have heard any of it phrased that way yet, but I'm here for it. That was great. No, I mean it's genuinely it's super exciting. Like this is something that obviously we've been looking forward to since day one. There's been different thoughts and plans over the last 3 years of what PvP would look like, and I think what we've come to is just a really, really cool, fun product, which is awesome. Uh, seeing y'all get some first looks at it, and then obviously as we get other people in there as well, like it's just been really fun to see how much fun people have had, because that's what it's all about, right? And so it's been really cool and really exciting for us. I think I mentioned this on a stream somewhere at some point, maybe I don't remember anymore. But it was very similar, like with Void Hunts. It's like, okay, we've put in all this work to build this combat system. Really hope people like it. It's so very similar of like it's just awesome to see people enjoying it.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Yeah. Go ahead, Raph.
Well, I was gonna say, I also wanted to call out something that Emerson said. As I was putting the kids to bed, the Gen Ones, as we say, uh, it's listening to Mega's podcast, The Jewelers, and shout out to them. And he said, also like, I feel for all of those out there who are investing in the DeFi Kingdoms ecosystem. They're not creators and streamers, and so like just be patient. Like it's almost there. And I just want to like echo those comments as well. Like we're trying to blaze a trail here with some combat, and like we appreciate both the opportunity and the privilege to try this out first, but also we're really excited for when this gets rolled out to everyone. And it's such a good product. I mean, you guys, you hit the nail squarely on the head. With traits and PvP at the same time. I mean, it is an intricate, complex game. It's like you guys created these NFTs with all this complexity, and then somehow you've also developed a fairly balanced game. I mean, there's some tweaks. Don't ape into broken mechanics, right? And there's some tweaks that need to be made, but you've created a game that, I mean, for the most part, it's incredibly exciting to play. And that's just so well done, and I can't wait for this to be released to the rest of the community too.
Yeah, balance will be never ending, right? But that's part of the fun of it is, shifting metas and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing that like I think is really cool with the 6 hero classes that currently have codexes. There's some like 3,000 and change possible combinations of fights, which is already pretty insane, right? But then every class that gets added, or every class's codex that gets added after that, just changes that meta again. So it's I know I've talked about it on many podcasts, and I'll continue to. I'm a League of Legends nerd. It's super fun. Every time they introduce a new champion, you get an entirely new game experience, and that's kind of what we've got set up for all of the rest of these classes, which I think is it just every time it'll add a new level and a new layer of excitement to it, which I think is super cool. But yeah, I'm super pleased with how it's gone, and massive, massive, massive credit to Hubert and Workhorse and Beetle Dude and Typical and Pinecone and Sachet and Winston and Magnus, and the list goes on and on. Because what they've done is absolutely incredible. And it's a game, at least from the handful that I've played so far, every move feels important. And I think that's really cool that like there's no turn where I'm like, this is just a throwaway turn.
Right.
That's a good point.
Yeah, keep going, Nidorf.
Yeah, I think there was a time in the game I was playing earlier when I was on the ropes, right? And so I had done the repeating shot with my archer leading into the big boy combo, right? And I was like, you know what? I'm about to be toasted, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw down the priest, where you're adding it heals a little bit, but also gives you increased attack. And I'm like, I'm just gonna go big or go home. And it was funny because then to counter it, he used his ability to blind my archer. And I was like, oh crap, like I never even thought that was something to look at. I still went for it because why not? Blinded archers can still hit, right? But
Right.
like just that concept that even if you've got a combo lined up and you have another thing to provide the right boost at the right moment, but a basic ability that you didn't like think to double check can totally wreck your plans. I think, and every ability we were saying earlier kind of has that kind of possibility in the right circumstance. So, I don't know that there is no perfect hero in this game. I think that's the other really cool thing is there's great heroes and there's crappy heroes, but there's never a perfect hero. It's so situational.
Yeah, it gives the chance for people to keep building. And I mean, I think that's something that, like satisfies all folks. It's, like there's so many ways to play the game. You can play the game on, with PvP, or you can farm in the game. You can, build items. You can be a liquidity provider. And so there's so many ways that you can impact the ecosystem, and that's not stopping today by any stretch. I feel like this is like creating more opportunities and pretty exciting. All right, so Sir Worm, I've dropped a code for you for a combat link. And so I'm prepping for PvP. So for all of those out there, right now, the way that PvP is working is we're in balance testing. And Bolon, jump. Feel free to jump in afterwards and let us know, like, how do you expect the interface to change as this goes from kind of like testing into kind of version one. But right now, what we do is we create a team, we select our skills. It looks a lot like boar hunts right now, and we can queue a battle, and when we share that, we can share a private link with someone, and you can DM that. You can put it on a message board if you want to say, "Hey, I got level 15s, come battle me." So it's kind of flexible in that way. And then when the other person selects that battle link, they can join your battle, and then you have this turns from share battle to resume battle, and then you're in and you're live, and you're going at it. So what can we expect, or what can the viewers expect out there, when this release is live? Is the interface going to change? It's still going to be like private battles in version 1, right?
Yeah, so step one will be private battles. Honestly, I would say it will probably be pretty similar to this. So go in, pick your team, obviously pick their skills, and then I honestly I think it will be very very similar to this for the first part, because you're really just having like friendlies or grudge matches or whatever the case may be, depending on who you're fighting, right? And so, I think we'll likely have like a looking for match channel in Discord, where anybody can pop in and find people to play against. And yeah, I mean, honestly, like it's pretty simple, which is nice. Like it's easy for anybody to kind of hop in.
I love it. All right, so we're going right now. Sir Worm did not take his F's are on vacation. He's going live, and here we are. We're in a battle. So we're in the semifinals of this content creators tournament that we've created. We have a lot of content up on YouTube. Please go check out the various DeFi Kingdoms creators. And again, this is a tournament where we have level 15, an average of level 15 heroes. And that can be plus or minus 3 levels, but your whole team has to at least, at most, average level 15. So I'm a little under that average. Kind of scared of Sir Worm. He's a bit of a big name inside the DeFi Kingdom. So, Sir Worm, I was kind of planning on doing this kind of full reveal. Hopefully you're comfortable with that. And one of the things that I like about this battle system is you can really dive into it and understand what the opponent's heroes, who did they bring, and what do they have. And I feel like almost like the first minute of every match should be spent on kind of looking at those heroes, what they have. So Sir Worm is rocking a warrior, mythic warrior, level 15, with that gore axe. So yeah, Neindorf, you gotta watch out for those visual changes there. He's got a priest,
That's right.
a priest level 16 who's already gone and dropped I believe a divine barrier, that level 15 skill, and then he has a level 14 archer with a gore bow and quite a few things here. So anything you want to call out on your team, Sir Worm?
Yeah, I'm trying to think what's important about my team. They all have armor.
Love that.
They have one feather duster, which is on the priest. The other two have the medium armor. I forget what the actual official name is.
Wishbone.
All have, yes, the wishbone, and they all have gore weapons.
Okay.
Noted on the axe. Nothing. Let's see. From a traits perspective, nothing too crazy. I was remembering in one fight, I had completely forgotten. Like one of them has toxic
Okay.
as their passive. I completely forgot that I did.
And you got
And
a
then I
poison,
saw
yeah.
poison pop it. I'm like,
Like that's
how'd that
fantastic.
get there? I was like, oh my God, right? I totally forgot. It's like I forgot that they had that. Like, so yeah, there's a lot of surprises even for me about my own team. So yeah, looking over my team and trying to remember if there's anything else. Uh, yeah, it'd be easiest. Flip
Nice.
over. It's clutch evolve, clear vision.
And all these abilities, like, and again, the interesting thing is like this is new to us, and so we just got access to both the abilities and combat this weekend, and now all of a sudden we're kind of grappling with: are our best heroes like really as good as we think, or are they even, some other heroes are they even better? I think
Yeah,
traits like can align with a specific hero in a way that it could make some good heroes amazing and some amazing heroes, just still top class, but just like okay. Um, and so I'm not quite sure yet. Neindorf, I know you're kind of like learning this on the fly. You haven't had quite as much of a chance to jump in. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I didn't really think about either is the fact that these abilities, it's kind of like a basic attack, right? Plus extra. And I've seen those used, say you've got an enemy that's got a small amount of HP left. It, and I forget, this is where I got to do some more learning, but like I don't know, is the range of the abilities the same as your hero or it can go anywhere? It's like you can kind of use those abilities to reach, I believe,
Yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit differently.
yeah,
yeah. You
And
can,
that
for the
to
most
me
part,
was
you can. Yeah,
that was a huge game changer. I was like, oh, so the guy in the back row that's got 55 health left is in danger of being insta killed by somebody almost. Even though you've got what would normally be like warriors or knights. So like that was something that really got me. I'm not gonna lie, I had to really pause and like, okay, I gotta file that one away because
yeah.
that's a huge point.
Yeah, so since Sir Worm went, I want to reciprocate as well. Not just, hey, Sir Worm, tell me about how your team functions before we fight. Um, I'm going full aggro here with my team. I have a strong mythic warrior. He was regularly summoned, and he's had great level ups from a health perspective. So I was like, all right, well, why not throw this guy in the match? And then I have a couple dark summoned heroes that I have, and I'm really going for that aggro approach. So very very different than Sir Worm. I'm going to be trying to set up Archer strongest moves and the Warrior strongest moves. And so for the Warrior, I'm going with Rapid Onslaught, and for the Archer, of course, I think as everyone knows right now, Rapid Shot is a little. Or excuse me, repeating shot is a little busted at the moment. I expect that to be balanced in the full release version, but that's what I'm going for here. So in the game so far, if we look at the kind of the turns here, the battle log, uh, Sir Worm's Priest went first, and he applied a barrier, and now he has a faster warrior, or excuse me, faster archer than me, and so as I'm kind of prepping for this. I think he's got a little bit of control of the match on where it's going to go first, and his archer is level 14, but clearly a little faster. 24 agility, that's pretty darn good. Um, and so I would expect his archer to kind of come at my archer here, but we'll see how this plays out. I'm excited. Check it out.
yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Oh yeah.
So he got the rapid shot, and I was expecting that move, and so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go with my own rapid shot and hope it hits big through these barriers. Kind of hit the priest through the barrier, and I have my two heroes going next. And I'm gonna go for kind of what's known, I think, as the cheese. This is what got me kind of game one. And so I think with my middle guy, I'm gonna drop a swiftness potion. So I'm not gonna do that with my front guy, and instead I'm gonna just try to get into my combo of Gladiator Strike, then into Rapid Onslaught. Try to get to that shield, and we'll see how my archer speeds up to this process.
Yeah, that was. I think the match that I had won, the swiftness potion was critical too, and like it takes a lot of stone though. I mean, once
It
you use that,
it
you're kind of committed.
depletes your entire inventory of stone. Like
Yep.
you
Pretty
can drop like a
much, yeah.
blindness potion or a poison resist potion after that, but we'll see what happens. Okay, so Sir Worm is protecting his archer here, or no, the archer still has the shield. So his warrior with the axe. It's his turn,
It's
and
my turn, so I am
he's
going
doing a
to
whirlwind, trying to slow us
try
down.
to slow
He
you down.
got a slow on my archer. That's really good for him. Um,
So yeah, I don't know what when you have that's one thing I don't know is like how it if you have a slow and a speed working at the same time, like what wins out, or
right,
are you back to normal, or I'm not exactly sure how that balance works.
right, for sure, for sure. All right, so I'm gonna try to use the repeating shot and see if I can pick off his front line, which I was able to do. This archer, he's a bit strong, but now I'm
He's
guessing
a
that
bit
his
strong.
archer is going to be able to pick off my archer with his abilities. We'll see. We'll see how this works. Because
Yeah.
now I've used all my potions, so it's or well, almost all of my potions. So I'm a I'm a little scared at this point. I feel
Yeah.
like my archer he's exposed.
Yeah, like
And that's funny because he's a high percentage of his hit points, but yet in these PvP battles, like damage is just off the charts from what I'm used to with
Yeah,
like all the board teams that I'm running.
and this guy I kind of saved a little bit in the hopper here, but I'm rocking a double giant slayer uh legendary archer with boosted dexterity. So um he's he's a bit mean. He likes taking on guys with a lot of health.
yeah,
Yeah, that's just crazy. Like, because you think about that, a frontline guy he was pretty much full health too,
Yeah,
and you got one attack essentially dropped him. Like,
yeah.
wow.
Those three. I did 222, 284. What's that? 3, 5, almost 800 damage. I think I could have taken out his archer as well. So okay, so I really lucked out
that
on
did
that
not
repeating
go
shot.
well.
That did not go well for Mr.
Did
Starworm.
not go well for me at all.
Um,
That
he,
was
his
like,
his repeating shot had a couple misses, which was kind of critical for my game plan. And
Oh,
now
yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm trying to get the damage in on his guys, and so I'm gonna try to set up the combo here. I can do a basic attack. I'm gonna just keep kind of picking at the priest at the moment. It's just crypto saying Raph speedrunning the double giant slayer nerf. Yes, I am. Golan said, don't get into broken mechanics, and Raph said, just wait for me to break all the mechanics first,
Well,
and then prove you right.
that's an interesting one though, because I mean that's two elite abilities. Like that's not it shouldn't be busted, of course, but it
Yeah.
should be painful. I mean, that's difficult. Like that's a lot of genetic work that you've had to do there in order to
Yeah.
get that on a legendary hero with how much dexterity at what level again?
Yeah, he's got, I'm rocking 58 dexterity at level 13.
Jeez.
So,
50. Wow.
A lot of decks.
Wow.
Plus double giant
Wow.
slayer. Like yeah, I mean that's with so thinking back to like Hubert's.f formulas, I think they're Hubert's, but I know he talked about all the combinations of the worst stat rolls all the way to the best stat rolls, but it's like you've got near best stat rolls plus some of the best damaging genes. Like
yeah.
it's a it's a lot.
They all go down.
So, Mr. Sir Worm.
It's over already.
I'm running the cheese strategy here. I will say, in the Fight Club days early on, when we first started practicing with hero battles, I remember being like, "Hey, I think this is a cheese strategy," and then not going forward with it in the first tournament, and then being kind of upset when other people use the cheese strategy. I was like, "Ah, damn! I should have done that." Um, and so I'm fully embracing the cheese. I'm putting on the bad guy hat, so to speak, and yeah, I'm kind of leaning into it at this point. So, um, yeah, I agree. It's just crypto. That was incredibly broken. A little bit. I can't disagree. I will say when I was fighting DFK Tails, I just knew when he loaded up his hero team, I'm like, he's doing the same thing, and so I got to see if I could beat him at his own game. And so like that's kind of this is where I've embraced the dark side. But DFK Tails heroes, I mean, they were just as scary as mine, if not like he had on average scarier heroes. I got my archer that's strong, but
One thing that I've found really interesting so far, and I'm curious if y'all's thoughts on it, and it gets really interesting when you don't know the other person's comp, but healer versus no healer versus double healer is such an interesting dynamic.
right.
So I've run like I said, I've only played a few games myself so far. But as a general rule, I, like Sir Worm was doing, run a single healer. And it can be very effective, but it's so dependent on what your opponent is doing. Meanwhile,
Absolutely.
I've had people play into me with double healer and I just can't kill them. So like it's very interesting, but I've had other people with no healer just, purely focused on damage output. And it's a very interesting where I think we're gonna see, like, I know a lot of people aren't necessarily as big of a fan of seers in PvE as priests. And I think that we may see some of that change in PvP just because seers have a little more flexibility.
Oh,
Because
I was playing France. If we were at lower levels, it was kind of like training for this tournament, and he was using a speed seer, and the utility that speed seer had. And that was before I had this team kind of leveled up and ready to go. Um, but man, I mean, it was fascinating. It was wild. It completely complements the point you're making, Bolon. That like there is some really crazy utility that's coming up with like other heroes that like don't quite thrive in the player versus boars or chicken environment, but are really thriving or will thrive, we think, in player versus player.
and potentially in future PvE encounters as well, right? Which
Sure.
is also
Yeah.
what makes it interesting. And I think we've said that when people have said like, oh, Berserker doesn't feel as good in the boars, and it's like, well, not every class is going to feel as good in every situation. Uh, so I think it's made it very interesting.
and healers in particular, like it's been a very interesting point for me so far of just like watching some of the battles that y'all have done and some of the ones that I've been in, where like double priest comps can be really hard to deal with.
Yeah.
Which is funny because I think a lot of people were sleeping on priests previously and
Oh,
were like,
yeah, I
we don't
know.
need heals.
I messaged Nine Dwarf the other day, and I was like, "Hey, priest might actually be really good." Now, I don't have a good priest to run in my current comp, so like that's where I'm at right now. But they can boost your speed, they can boost your might, they can. I was playing the guy who's GFK Elite on his YouTube, and he was just wrecking me with his level 20 comps. Like, I mean, and mine are like Gen 0 level 20, so they're like, you know, kind of so heroes, so to speak. But man, his priest was just on fire. That was so much fun. All right, well,
You gotta watch
Sir
out for
Word,
that
while
holy
you're getting
damage.
ready, I'm gonna jump out quick and grab a drink. So you guys keep going, but I'll be back.
Sure.
So for double priests, like I mean, that's an interesting one too because with the amount of mana, as long as you're at 15, you've got damage abilities as well. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of potential there. And I don't think the holy light isn't as scary. You sure it does damage over time, and you can get a couple stacks going, but it's usually a fairly tiny amount. But holy wrath though, plus the stun you can get, whew,
And you've got twice the heals, twice the barriers, then you've got Holy Wrath, and it just makes it really interesting where depending on the other side's team comp, you either have to outlast their mana burn, you have to have enough damage to get through their healing. Like there's ways to deal with it for sure.
right,
But it just gets really interesting when you don't know what comp the other person is using because you're both coming in thinking I've got a good team for this battle, but depending on what they bring in, it can get really interesting. And then you get into like battle budget, and there's ways that you can kind of try to force some potion usage with like blinding winds, for example, uh
yep,
as one of the traits. Somebody comes in with double archers, but if you've got 2, 3, 4 instances of blinding winds, you make things really interesting for them. So
that's a lot of wasted turns. Too, that if you have a healer, you can keep up or get ahead extremely
right.
well.
Right, because they're either giving up damage or they're giving up their own healing. They're giving up something, and they're burning that battle budget because it can go quick, especially with blindness or anti-blind potions. Blindness potions would be fun. Just blind yourself. Uh,
Right.
Yeah.
but yeah, that's one of the things that I'm most excited for with PvP is all of the different strategies, and I really think we'll see every hero class have its purpose and its utility. Whereas with PvE, there's always going to be some level of these heroes are better for these encounters, or even within the skill trees. There's skills that I think are well that I know are the most run for boars or the most run for box. And with PvP, there's kind of just utility across the board for the most part.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Oh, I see we're opening up here. Oof.
we're going heavy here, and
My strategy did not work.
Good lord, that was a strong that was a big hit.
that's
It was tremendously big.
it's the
Has to be-
PvP-ness that we've all been waiting for.
Yeah, when the days didn't hit,
Right. No,
Right.
no,
that
the
was
days did hit. The
best.
days did hit. It just didn't.
Well,
I still
it
went.
didn't trigger days.
Well, I thought I saw it.
It triggered poison,
Yeah.
but it didn't trigger days. So that
Got it.
changed
And
it.
then he
Yeah.
based your archer right after too.
Yeah.
So
I'm running.
I was hoping to push the archer's turn further back.
Yeah, I'm running with a stun, and I tried that against Dragon Tales a couple times. I missed both of the stuns on each of the two of the matches that I played, and I was like, oh, that stinks when you miss your stuns.
So which of those abilities can hit through one of the bubble shields? Does it depend, or are most of them blocked by a shield?
Status effects are blocked by shield.
So any of them they're trying to,
Yeah,
stun, daze,
or
exhaust, all that.
you have to. Many of the status effect abilities do damage to some extent. Your damage
Yep.
has to. My understanding, and I mean, please, someone jump in and correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is your damage has to break the shield first, and then if you have a status effect, it can potentially trigger. But if you don't break the shield, then your status effect has not. It will not trigger at all.
It goes wasted. Okay. I thought that was the case. I just wasn't certain. But yeah, like, going back to where you guys were talking about speed seers, when you first think about that, when I first started thinking about that, I didn't think it would work well because you're using channeling abilities a lot. And like, sure, say that's 800 out of 1,000 of your initiative. So it seems like you're going faster, but after the 800, it still takes your turn. So you kind of almost
Right.
have to have that speed so that you're not doing almost half as many turns if you're doing channeling abilities a lot. So that's something
Right.
I hadn't considered that. And I've in the past week I started boar hunting with a couple seers just to get to know their abilities better. And yeah, there's some complicating factors, but I do think that once you understand them, especially to Bolan's point with PvP, there's a lot of they're a pretty cool hero class.
Just said it well. Pure barrier makes you immune to not damaging effects. That was
Right.
in much fewer words than it took me to describe it.
He's teaching the class on this already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, for
Well,
sure.
this is going to be difficult to come back through, but Raph's prize is to play against Jess, and I'm okay.
You're okay, Glenn. I know you have
I'm
that
okay.
prize.
It's like, so that's the prize. I'm like, yeah, I'll take.
Oh,
For the record, I believe in you, Sir Worm. I think you can do it.
At least somebody does. Let's see.
Oh man,
His archer's exhausted. Now's the time. Just do like a 1,200 damage hit with your berserker, split between two enemies, and you're good to go.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
He's got a clip, right?
no offense to Sir Worm and I, but I think if a betting person had the chance of taking the field or Just right now, I think the betting person would take Just.
Oh, take it, Just. Yeah. I'm like, ooh. Yeah, I saw him play DFK Elite earlier in the weekend, and I think DFK Elite beat him.
Whew.
And then I turned around and they played during the tournament, and he beat DFK Elite. And I'm like, well,
Well, let's be
that might
honest.
have
When he
been
lost the DFK Elite, he probably went and pitted that entire team.
right,
Yeah.
right. And like they were playing level 20s, and I think they were using the whole field of heroes, which is different than this. So because we're using our own heroes.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
that
I was having
That
fun
changes everything.
playing. Franz wanted to do some just fun matches where he had some level 20 teams this morning, and I was like, well, my level 20 teams kind of suck. And he's like, all right, like, that's fine. Like, pick a team from the field, and I did. And that was, like, actually really enjoyable, kind of going through that. So I would say what about that feature, Bolon? Do you feel like there's a chance that we could continue to use other heroes while in the future version of the game? Is that an opportunity? Like I think it creates I like it at least.
I would say if so, it would be through like a rental market, because otherwise, I
Okay.
mean, what's the point of
Sure.
owning the hero?
Sure. But that's
But I do think
good
a
idea.
rental market could be really cool.
Whew. His priest. Now, do you have the priest damaging abilities? Like that's what I'm wondering right now.
I
No, he
have
does not.
Holy Light, like the triple barrier.
Holy light.
You have
okay.
to forego Holy Wrath for the divine
Yeah,
barrier.
yeah.
So that is
I don't know if Holy Light
that's the
does
trade-off.
enough to me right now, but I'm not a Holy Light calculator, so
Right. I would have to see, and I don't know.
Yeah, Holy Light doesn't do a ton of damage, honestly.
but I only have 182 health left, so and is it Holy Light that does damage over time after it hits you too?
It does,
Yeah,
yeah.
it does, yeah. And but I don't know if I can afford to.
Right, because then
Do
you're
that?
you're giving up your warrior coming down for sure. It's
Exactly. So
it's a
like,
tough trade-off.
it's like it's a trade-off. Like, and I've already used full health potion on a player that's dead, so puts me in a tough position. To try to give my warrior a little bit and see, and pray that I get lucky. But that's basically that's where I'm at. It's where I am at.
I get it.
That was me with the final blow with my warrior at one point in one of my games. It missed, of course.
But, oh,
Well,
and the priest stands alone again,
good game, Sir.
and he's dead again. Wow, that archer is amazing. Like, oh,
Please,
I
please
thought I
don't
would have
nerf.
a chance to get
Please don't nerf. All right.
that
Well,
repeating shot. It's tough to stop. I think Bowen might be right. One of the ways you might be able to combat it is to either do like double priest or priest
some
seer
interrupts.
or
Yeah.
double seer, and try to increase the bubble.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, Raph's team comp kind of is the perfect example for what I was talking about.
Right,
Where
yeah.
if you have double priest or priest seer or stuns or taunts, just there's really quite a few ways to interrupt that combo, because all you have to do is interrupt one turn and the whole combo breaks. So but again, that's where the interesting part of not knowing what your opponent is running comes in.
Right, yeah, like unfortunately, like if I had even if I had the taunt was coming after the rapid
Yeah.
shot, which is what that's the one that you need, because they're doing the taunt on the second one. Sure, he'll just shoot the one that
Right.
got taunted.
Right.
He'll
He's
just
just
yeah,
gonna
So,
repeat
so
each
you have
pick
shot.
that guy up.
so you need to do it first, and I'm like, well, he was the last one in the group, and that's not going to change. Especially with the axe that slows you down.
Well, and that's where like days can obviously play a huge factor, which I know you went for in this case and didn't
Right, yeah,
cross.
it's like
Yeah.
that was my only shot. It's like I think maybe if I get the days, maybe I can change the course of
Yeah.
the game. But it didn't trigger.
It
so,
doesn't trigger, so that's tough.
Yeah.
Days, stun, exhaust,
Yeah.
like anything that can kind of change that
That's
order.
they still have a percentage chance, and yeah, that's tough. All right,
Yeah,
well,
so-
we are probably going to transition here. Stick's intern is also streaming tonight, and his stream starts in about 10 minutes. Just Crypto, I'll be facing off against you in the finals, and you dropped in chat somewhere earlier tonight that you'll be drunk by the time that finals happens. Well, I will match your drunk and raise that one. So I'll see you there. thank you, Nindorf, Bolon, and Sir Worm for joining me tonight. And again, big thank you to the community for sticking through this bear market. We're here. We're here, guys. And the biggest possible thank you to DeFi Kingdoms. PvP ness is huge. It's great. It's a beauty to behold. So I'm so excited. So any closing comments you guys have? Maybe Nindorf, start with you.
Yeah, sure. Honestly, overall, I just have to say that, yeah, I'm impressed. And that, I think you guys at DFK, I mean, maybe I'm speaking kind of to Bolon here, you did a great job kind of throwing in, getting these abilities out there. It's an order of magnitude more complex because of it, which is extremely good. That is very healthy, and it makes the matches so much more diverse, as you were saying. So yeah, props to you guys. Well done. And I can see much time spent analyzing, planning and trying to improve for the next time we come up with a bracket. So absolutely love it.
All right, Sir Worm, we'll go to you next, and we can end with Bolon.
Sure. This has been great and awesome. Thanks, DFK team, and thanks, Raph, for just annihilating me and making it known that I have to go back to the pit and maybe start from scratch. Because I you know,
Don't worry, this
maybe
team
my
will get
stats,
nerfed. The nerf bat will come in strong.
like my stats may be right, but I don't know if there's enough trait wise. I have to pay more attention trait wise on what traits are on what heroes. Like I was trying to get good traits on randomly and not necessarily look at the hero as well, and I have to do it, get it all, see if I can get it all on the same guy, and we'll see. So I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of pit action this week.
Oh yeah, mokshas are going up.
Myself included. Myself included. So, but it was a great match, great game. I had a lot of fun. I didn't think I would get this far even. So I'm quite amazed. And way to go, ADFK.
Yeah,
That's right.
Ran far.
There's out of the last three contestants, all three are ADFK. Huh?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right,
That is pretty cool.
Bolon, take us home.
Really appreciate you guys. I'm glad that y'all are having fun. I appreciate all of the content that y'all have produced in the last, what, 55 hours. So, and also in the last 3 years as well while we're at it. But thank you guys so much. And thanks for having me on. It was fun. Equal amounts of good luck to both you, Raph, and Juss in the final round here.
Well, that's not
And
fair.
I'm
I
excited
need
to
more
watch
good luck than Just. Like, if it's going to be an even playing field.
You're drinking your good luck.
Yeah, I am.
But no, this has been really fun to watch you guys, dive in. Thank you for being the first ones to brave the new territory. And I'm excited to keep it going and can't wait for everybody to get their hands on it.
All right. Thank you guys very much. And this has been another stream of ADFK. Good night.